Tony Harvin, and welcome to my YouTube channel, Tony Harvin Network. I greet everybody upon this evening. This here is another Let's Talk About It video. We had a live schedule not too long ago. I was having some technical difficulties and whatnot. I don't know how that happened with my camera and whatnot, but we had to set up another quick one right here to get this camera straightened out. Y'all know my disclaimer. I'm not a pastor, preacher. I don't hold any type of office in the church. So please do not lay claims of those titles on me. We're not here to violate any type of community guidelines, any type of copyright infringement, or any type of privacy guidelines at all. Shout out to everybody that's going to join us live now in the middle and those who want to catch it when it uploads to YouTube. I posed the question to the public. And the question is right there. Is money the biggest downfall in a lot of churches? Is money the biggest downfall in a lot of churches? Money, money, money. Wow. 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 You said, what was it with the camera? I don't know. When I set up the live, they had me scheduled for 2 lives. It was like in a video format, you know what I mean? How you do it from the computer or a regular camera. I don't know why, man. It must be something new with YouTube or what. I don't know. You don't understand? That's the first time that ever happened. And whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So we got the camera back, whatever the case may be, and we're here to talk about this topic. We're here to talk about this topic. This one. This topic. Is money the biggest downfall in a lot of churches? Wow. What's up? The truth hurts. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Colin? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to A. Wooten? Shout out to you. What's up to Bobby Gonzalez? Shout out to the people in the background people watching. They waiting for me to talk about that topic. The other one. They waiting on me to talk. They waiting for any YouTuber to speak on that topic. I know what you want to hear. We're going to wait till Monday for that one. You understand? We're going to wait till Monday for that one. That's what we're going to do. You know what I mean? What's up to Show Enough? Hope all is well. What's up to 10 Ninjas? Shout out to you. You said too many fall due to money. You're right. They get greedy. They get real greedy. Yeah, Mr. Ham said, was your phone set for desktop? My last question. It's always like this. Always keep it just like this all the time. So when I set up for the live on the camera phone, I usually get one scheduled live. When I go to my studio, they had 2. I don't know why. One was in a video format, and one was this. I don't know how that was done. You know what I mean? Like I said, it could be something new with YouTube or what. I don't know. What's up to Bobby Gonzalez? He says, it's not the money. The downfall is the one that handles the money. What's up to Robin Harris? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to SV? What's up to Marcia? He says, I definitely believe money is the biggest downfall in the churches. So much so till they got pulpits full of females. They bring in money. You have a point. You have a point there. Why a lot of them so-called churches have females in the pulpit. You know what I mean? And as the old saying, sex sells. And that's what they're doing in the pulpit right now. How they dressing in the pulpit, cleavage out. You know what I mean? Wearing them short skirts. Ain't no man gonna want to go to church to hear the word. If you got a, beautiful woman up there with a nice body, he ain't gonna focus on the word. You know what I mean? He gonna be looking at them hips, them thighs like it's a strip club. You know what I mean? To give more money. You understand? The more she's showing, the more money that man gonna give. Whether it's a church or a strip club. You know, some fellas been to a strip club before. They know what I'm talking about. You understand? They might have a VIP room in the church too. Mm. Mm. You understand? You never know. VIPs in some churches out there. Mm. You know? Troop Hurt says, at my old folks church, they paid the head pastor and assistant pastor for a combined 300 grand between the two of them. Wow. 300 grand. 300 grand. We're going to wait till Monday. I told you that. What are you, deaf or dumb? Which one? Because I know you one of those trolls. That sangster. Clean your ears out. Wipe your eyes off. You know what I mean? I talk about certain things when I want to talk about it. You understand? Mr. Ham said, what a man does won't change my faith in Lord Jesus. Yeah, that's true. You know what I mean? But we have platforms. Not too many people got platforms. And if it's solid information that, like I, exposed a lot of those false prophets out there who steal from the church members who steal, nobody's exempt. I don't care who it is. Like I said the other day and all the time, it don't matter who it is. If it's solid proof that somebody's stealing, you know what I mean, we'll get them. We'll get them. You hear me, people in the background? Doesn't matter who it is. If it's solid proof, if I got to make some calls to some people I know, you understand? We ain't talking about church folks. We talking about, people in banks and stuff like that. If it is happening. You know what I mean? You says money, root of all evil, any contradiction. It says for the love of money. It doesn't say money. So you got to fix yourself up on that one. For the love of money. All right, what's up to Roxanne? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Let me see where we at. Bobby Gonzalez. I said, I don't know if y'all listening. You know what I mean? I said I was going to talk about that stuff on Monday. Monday. I want to wait. I want to have a nice weekend. I want to try to get some more information to some, certified people and things like that. You know what I mean? We're going to talk. We're going to talk about it Monday. I know they waiting. Oh, man, what does the YouTubers got to say about that video? You know what I mean? Like I said, nobody's exempt if I got proof. I don't care what it is. Simple as that. What's up, the Art of War? But we're here to talk about this topic right here. We hear a lot of these so-called preachers out here. You know what I mean? Stealing. People steal. You can steal it. You can steal more than one way. Yes, you can steal from the saints, directly or indirectly. You can fraud them. You can take church money. You understand that? And buy personal things. We done news stories like this before. We done these stories about embezzlement or money laundering with these so-called preachers. You understand that? So it doesn't matter if it's Joe Schmo from Montana, you know what I mean? Or Mickey Bay from California. It don't matter. You understand? A lot of that stuff, if you're stealing, it's illegal. You know what I mean? And if the feds get a hold of that, or if the authorities get a hold of that, especially if it's a lot of money in general, you understand? Just like, I forgot the so-called preacher news story that we who just got arrested, that we did a story on. He was stealing from the people. You know what I mean? You got churches out here, the church members are stealing, those who are in certain positions of handling finances and whatnot. It's not the first time we talked about something like this. We may have worded it in a different way, but we always talking about stuff like this. You know what I mean? What's up to Dioki? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Let's see where we at. Mm. Why you don't come on here when we talking about health and wellness? That's all you want to hear is stuff like that. You know what I mean? Why you want to come on here and talk about health and wellness? Thanks to love. When it's something positive we talk about, you know, you and the other fellas from up there in Canada is nowhere to be found. You know what I mean? I talk about any and everything. You know? What's up to Kalani? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Nobody block nobody. I want this to be an open chat for sure. Kalani says, "Don't women preacher." Oh yeah, we talked about the women preachers and whatnot. You said, why don't I have the same energy for genogenesis like I had for Went? What do you mean, energy? I'm just now finding out. You understand? I take my time. Simple as that. You know what I mean? Just like I took my time with that fella, I'm going to take my time. I don't have to move when you want me to move. Who are you? You understand? My energy ain't going to change for you. You know? He or she want me to talk about a certain topic when they want me to talk about. Who are you? Get out of here. What's up to awareness? He says, I honestly think it's the lust for power that is worse than money. The lust for power. That's a good point right there. The lust for power. You said money is just someone. You said money is just someone that comes with the power. I got you. What's up to David B? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. You know what I mean? Who else in here? I know some people in the background. Where the background people at? You know what I mean? Let me go up. What's up to Gwendolyn? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Show enough. What up to Show enough? Shout out to you. Billy Kidd says 99% of churches are money driven. 99% are money driven. You says, and the worst part, they not helping no member and just evil. Enough blessings to TOG. They doing wonderful things for the people of God. We're gonna scroll down right quick. What's up to What You Say? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Thank you for joining this conversation and whatnot. Mr. Ham says, I'll not take pleasure. I can't understand what you're writing, really. I'm gonna try to. You said, I guess you meant I still don't or do not take pleasure in no one downfall. Well, I don't know how to word it or whatever the case may be. It's not taking pleasure if somebody steals. I don't call somebody stealing from the church a downfall. That's their fault. That's their fault at the end of the day. That's like you saying you don't take no pleasure, right? If a so-called preacher touch on kids. You understand? I want to see that fella go to prison for life. Now, if you're talking about somebody struggling and stuff like that, somebody trying to get better, I can understand that part. You know what I mean? If a person is really working on themselves. But if you got a so-called preacher who's touching on kids, who's stealing money and stuff like that, nah, I don't have no sympathy for them. I don't. You know what I mean? I don't care if I know them. I don't care about none of that. You understand? At the end of the day, because listen, me and you got platforms. If these so-called preachers out here stealing money from the church, touching on kids and whatnot, we want to expose it and put it out there to warn the people. You understand? You said still won't take pleasure in someone's downfall. I get your point. I mean, hey man, to each his own. You know, if I hear a so-called preacher touching on kids, oh, we're gonna put it out here. We're gonna put it out here at the end of the day. You understand? That's what I'm going to do. If I hear somebody stealing from the church and there's proof and things like that, solid proof, and they get arrested, we're gonna expose it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. Let me see where we at. And that's what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do. You know, it's supposed to warn the people of these demons in the pulpit. Because if you have a platform and you ain't warning the people, you know what I mean? You could be a help to others out there. You understand? Your platform could help people be aware of these demons in the pulpit. Especially if you got Joe Schmo over here touching on kids. You know what I mean? So you may have an audience in a different location, right? And then you expose this fella, he come out of prison or don't get no prison time and go to those areas where your audience is at. If you don't warn the people, right? You could have warned those people about this fella. You know, so that's all I was saying and whatnot. But if somebody's struggling, you know, and they really need help or they really making an effort, I'm not talking about like completely, you know, I'm not talking about people who just completely stealing at all. But somebody who's struggling or somebody who had a downfall and trying to get better. There's people out there that have downfalls but try to get better. You know what I mean? Some people don't. They don't care nothing about no church members or nothing. They just care about what they can get out of people. You know what I mean? Like these demons in the pulpit. You know what I mean? Especially with money. Especially with money. You know what I mean? So yes, I did watch the video for those out there who are wondering. I watched it entirely. I normally don't watch these people's videos like that, but I did. Something compelled me to watch that video. You know what I mean? For those that even in the background, I watched it. You understand? Order in the court. Order in the court. You want to? All right. Where we at? What's up to DYS? Shout out to you. Billy Kidd says, one time I was at a concert a long time ago, and his pastor was saying, the more money you give is the more God will bless you. I was looking at this fool like, this is so evil. Absolutely. I've heard that too at the false church that I came out of also, you know, things like that in general for sure. What's up to Anthony Whitney? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. You said, did T.D. Jakes get arrested? What did he do to be arrested? What did T.D. Jakes do to get arrested? Did he steal from the church? Let me know. All right, what's up to Wanda? Shout out to you. Dioki says, some churches, all the money goes to the pastor directly. You says the pastor is the banker, treasurer, and financial secretary. Mr. Ham says the black eye busted lip is bad for church. You're right. You're right about that, because there's people who are hungry, people who really need the money. You understand? People who are really struggling in these churches. You know what I mean? And then you got a greedy, wicked person stealing. You know what I mean? Whether it's buying jewelry, going on trips, splurging, you know what I mean? Getting Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, Jordans. You understand? All that good stuff. You know what I mean? Using it for personal things. You know what I mean? We said this before. We don't cut no corner. I don't cut no corners with nobody at all. All right. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I don't know. That's kind of seem a little funny your name. I'm just gonna call you. Try it. Shout out to you. What's up to Helena Russell? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Listen, what you put lips up there for, Anthony? What's wrong with you? I don't know if that had better been a typo or a mistake. You put some lips up there. I don't know what you're trying to say about that one. I don't know about that one, Bella. I would hope it's a mistake or a typo on your end. You understand? I don't know about that one. What's up to the Yoki said ties is not just money. You can give your time too. You said it's no mistake. I just like that you're saying the right. Listen, don't put no lipstick or nothing like that, man. You understand? I ain't with all that. You know what I mean? I ain't with all that. Just put a pound or a thumbs up, whatever the case may be. I don't do that. You know what I mean? All right. What's up? The same. Summer Gabriel, shout out. Summer Gabriel, shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up? I'm trying to do this, man. There you go, man. There you go. You might be from another country or whatever the case may be. You might be, I don't know. You understand? But that just kind of, you know what I mean? You know? Let me see. What's up this summer? Shout out to you. Yo, y'all funny. What's up to Coffee? Shout out to you. Miss Joy says, preachers teach you are cursed if you don't give them money. That's crazy. Ain't that something? Mr. Patrick T, shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Jamaica Campbell? Shout out to you. Yeah, right. He said maybe it was a holy kiss. Yeah, right. Even that. Ain't no brother better not come up to me with a holy kiss. You hear me? No brother better not come up to me and try to give me no holy kiss. I'm drawing back like Pete from Baby Boy. You hear me? I'm drawing way back. What's up to Sister A. Brown? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that, Suzanne Miller. Shout out to you. Oh man, they funny tonight. They ain't funny tonight. We're talking about this topic in general. I'm not specifying anything right now, or whatever the case may be. Brother L. Brother Lucifer. What are you talking about, Brother Lucifer? He says, Tony, Gino knows exactly what you're doing, trying to act as if you don't want to talk about it. Well, we said Monday. I don't know if you was on here earlier, but we said Monday we're going to talk about it. I wanted to talk about this right here. You understand? Brother Lucifer. For those who don't know, that's the reader for Mr. McGregor right there. Him. You know, the funny-eyed looking dude. You understand? That's him, Brother L, Brother Lucifer. That's what I call him. You know what I mean? So if you ever watch Mr. McGregor and you see the reader, you understand? That's him right there, Brother L. You know what I mean? All right? What's up to Hayes? Shout out to you. What's up to Hayes? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that, Hayes. All right? What's up to Bless? What's up to TNT? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. John Smith. What up, John Smith? Shout out to you. Yoki says the bling bishop that got arrested here in New York just came to mind. Yeah, he's one of them. You know, he's one of them. And whatnot. You know. SV, what up, SV? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. You says a holy handshake is good enough for me, or a holy pound. Mm. Shout out to you. Listen, I don't want to turn this into like a holy kiss, hug, pound thing at what is that? Jamaica Campbell's Plumbing TV. I'm here to talk about this topic at Jamaica's Campbell Plumbing TV. You know what I mean? It's just a question. I raised the question. I raised the question to the public. You know, we ain't specifying nothing else. Why can't some people just talk about this? You know what I mean? The topic at hand, I asked the question. Hey, Brother L, I asked the question. Why can't you answer it? Luke, Mr. Luke Edmond, the reader. Answer the question. You know? All right, what's up to H. Hopkins? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Zebra? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Sin Stew? Shout out to you. Miss Joyce says, Creflo Dollar is the worst. I can't listen to him. He's super greedy. Creflo Dollar. The only reason I would speak on him because of him and that other preacher who was throwing money. They was throwing money on the ground. And I think the other fellow was named like what? Leroy Thompson or something like that. And it was dancing on money or something like that. That video I seen. And whatnot, which was a bunch of foolishness for the most part. What's up to Felicia? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. TNT, what up? What's up to TNT? Shout out to you. Mr. Ham says, keep my mouth closed till there a response to the matter. Well, the thing is, some people think I'm talking about that, but I ain't. That's the whole thing about it. I'm not talking about that. You know, we're just having an in general conversation. You know what I mean? It's just that some people like Mr. Luke Edmond, Brother L, Brother Lucifer. You know what I mean? He thought it was about that. He thought it was about that. It ain't about that. You know what I mean? We're just having a basic conversation. That's it. They waiting for me to talk about that. They waiting. They waiting for that. That's Monday. I got it scheduled for 6:30. 6:30 Monday. You know? All right. Hayes says money and sin is the downfall to most of these churches. Money and sin. I can agree. I can agree for sure. You know what I mean? And skittling in the churches. That's another one. That's another one. Skittling. That's another one for sure. You know what I mean? I'd say. All right. Miss Joyce says, giving money to the church is to help the poor and the members who are in need. I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. You know? And because there's a lot of people out there who's poor, who need money, who need their rent paid, those who really need it. You know what I mean? If you got a couple of thousands, if you're getting a nice check every week, you don't need it. You don't need it at all. You understand? Some people ain't got food in their refrigerators right now, in their cabinets. Them the ones that need it. Hayes said they want to taste the rainbow. Skittles in the churches. That's another one. Skittles in the churches. Wow, man. Wow. What's up to 622? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Dioki said you wrote it. I think you wrote a scripture in reference to stealing. What's up to Span? He says y'all pray for me. Been feeling some type of way. He says ever since Baskin and Robbins been playing, all these years I wrote for these false prophets. Now remember, it says now a real man of God stepped on the scene and they want to trash our pastor. Mr. Ham says not Leroy Biggin and Creflo Penny dancing on the money. Yes, that video I was making reference to. For sure. All is good at 622. All is good. For sure. You know what I mean? Definitely appreciate that. You know what I mean? As we checking everybody else out. Anthony says the best part of all of this is one-on-one with the understanding. What's up to Herd Wise? Shout out to you. Hope all is well at Herd Wise. What's up to Marquise Williams? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. And the reason I timed you out at Sangster, you're spamming. I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? I answered you the first time. If you can't get it, you'll be timed out for spamming and whatnot. Simple as that. Right? We don't got time for foolishness. You know what I mean? We're here to have a conversation. You know? So if I'm here to have a conversation about this, and I said I was going to talk about a certain topic on Monday, just wait till Monday. That's all you got to do. What's so hard about that? You know what I mean? What's so hard about it? Just wait till Monday. Simple. Anthony Evans says, Skittles in First Church, talk about that. You're right. Skittles in every church. Simple. You know, simple as that. Skittles in every church. You know what I mean? You can't deny that. Every church. The false church I came out of. All right? Span. Yo, Span is bugging. Shout out to Span. What's up, the brother in holiness? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Patrick, if a preacher is handling the money of the church, do you know the church is in error? Why you say that at Patrick T? Being that you're from the Church of Christ, how they do it in the Church of Christ at Patrick T? Let us know. You said the money of the church is handed, I guess you mean handled, by the deacons according to Scripture. Somebody was telling me that earlier. In the conversation. Was it? I don't know if it was today or yesterday, or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? All right. What's up, this Sister Monica? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Let's see who else we missed. Let me see. We going. What's up to A. Brown? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Robin Harris. Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. Listen, you can't demand me to talk about something I got scheduled for another day. You know what I mean? I understand, you're from that other church or whatever the case may be, but that don't work here. Simple as that. He called him a dimwit. He called him a dimwit. Wow, that was funny. Haven't heard that one in a while, man. They about to go crazy in the chat room. That's funny. Called him a dimwit. Wow. You will get timed out for spamming. I don't have no problem with certain comments and things like that. When you keep spamming certain things, you will be timed out. You know what I mean? Simple as that. Just have a basic conversation and whatnot. If you say one thing, you don't have to keep repeating it over and over. That's what's getting them timed out. You understand? Not what they're saying, but the spamming gets them timed out. Simple as that. So if you got something to say, if you're a hater or a troll, say it one time. Don't keep saying it at all, or you will get timed out. You know what I mean? If I answered you, if I say I'm going to talk about it Monday, keep it that way. Simple as that. You know what I mean? That's why you got timed out. All right? Let me see. David B says, Skittles are supposed to be in the church, he wrote. You said, it should be where deliverance is. The TOG is delivering many souls through God's word. That's understandable. But the thing is, some people got one foot in and one foot out. You know what I mean? Whether it's, any church, every church got Skittles in it. But some people play around He said, what is Skittles? He said, what is Skittles? He said, what is Skittles? RuPaul, Magic Johnson's son, Dwayne Wade's son. You understand? Who else is a fairy out there? I don't know. You know what I mean? Them type of people. I call them Skittles because YouTube, if you say certain terms, they will flag your video. You understand? All right? Here we go. What's up to, what is that, K? Shout out to you. Jaden Smith, yeah. You know what I mean? Now you get the drift of what I'm talking about. You know, because if you say certain terms, you know what I mean, they'll take this video down. They'll flag the video. It might terminate your channel. You know what I mean? All right, so we got to be very, very careful with certain terms and words and things we say. You understand? All right? So people could, like them haters who, you know, were saying things. You know what I mean? You could spam all you want. There's a time and place when you talk about certain things on your time. You know? All right, what's up to T Brown? Shout out to you. Gin Juice, what up? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. Let me see where we at. Trying to get to something right quick. Okay. Let's see. He called them sodomites. That's another good term, sodomites. Justin says, greetings, what up? What you says, I was paying my tithes faithfully. A circumstance came up, fell 2 months behind on mortgage, went directly to the pastor for a loan and was told the church don't give out money. Wow, man, that's deep. You know what I mean? And some churches are that way. You know, when people are in definite need of something like rent, mortgage, light bill, something. You know what I mean? And then you got these greedy preachers, these greedy churches who don't want to give those folks who really need it nothing. You know what I mean? They rather pocket the money. You know? Patrick T, you wrote 1 Timothy 3:8-13. Understandable. All right, what's up to Ernest Beard? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Span says, most of these men been plotting for years, facts, and this is why I'm taking my time. Same here. Same here. You know what I mean? What's up to B Holy? Shout out to you. Miss Joy says, some of these pastors became rich off the people like Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland. Jen Juice says, that's cold-blooded. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. What's up to TNT? Said Shoulder. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have went through that. At what you say, Brother in Holiness, that's crazy. They pay tithes but can't get help. Ain't that something? You know, some folks pay tithes faithfully. Maybe $500 a week. Maybe $1,000 a week. You know what I mean? Maybe $10,000 a month. And then they fall on hard times and can't even get the help. You know what I mean? All right, not a problem at Robin Harris. Good night to you also, and whatnot. You know, shout out to everybody out there. Shout out to the people in the background. You know, shout out to y'all. All right, be all this greetings to your family, peace and blessings to everyone. Appreciate that. All right, for sure. Span says, all these despicable, feeble-minded, rotten, dust, dirty, dingy, false prophets. What's up to DYS? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. What's up to Awareness? Shout out to you. Dioki says, one person shouldn't handle money. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. You need a very trustworthy person, or people rather, right, to handle money in general. I'm speaking in general. I mean, folks coming on here think I'm specifying a certain topic that they want to hear about. I'm not talking about that. You know what I mean? So all those in the background, you think I'm talking about a certain topic. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this topic right here in general. All right? What's up to K? You said 10,000 per month on time means someone makes 100K per month. Yeah, it happens. It can happen. All right? Jackie McCall. Jackie, wow. Wow, Jackie McCall, where you been, man? Wow. Jackie McCall, wow. Where you been, sir? Long time, man. Man, I ain't hear from you in about what, a year and a half, man. Shout out to Jackie McCall, man. He says, what's going on, my brother? I actually were not under the tithing system. So you said, so you getting beat out of your money because you're not studying for yourself. We ain't here to have a debate. Now, you coming off like in a debating format. We ain't talking about tithing here. I ain't talking about tithing here. My question says, is money the biggest downfall in a lot of churches? I didn't say tithing. That could be from anything. You know what I mean? So you have to read clearly the question. You understand? How could you talk about you're not studying for yourself when you can't even understand the question? I don't get it. You understand? Money could come from all angles in the churches. You understand? So I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? He says, I know, my brother, somebody mentioned it to you talking about Sweet Candy Man. I haven't seen that. Who said that? Where's that at? No, I didn't see that. I mean, if that was up there, my apologies. I didn't see it. Or if I forgot about it, my apologies, or whatever the case may be. Somebody said Sweet Candy Man. Really? And I ain't see that? Wow. Who said that? You know what I mean? Let's see where we at. We got about 18 minutes left. 18 minutes. I gotta get up out of here. 18 minutes. You know? Man, you back. All right, Sister Monica said, is the church supposed to give loan? Give loan? Give a loan? What you mean, give a loan? Like if somebody, why you keep talking about Sweet Candy Man? What's wrong with him? I don't know. What are you talking about, man? I don't know if you're saying somebody said that or he's saying that. Sweet Candy Man. I don't know about that, man. I don't know. Are you saying somebody said Sweet Candy Man or you're saying Sweet Candy Man? I'm kind of confused right now. Can somebody help me out? If this guy is talking about somebody else said Sweet Candy Man or he's saying Sweet Candy Man, I'm lost. You know what I mean? Mr. Worshippers, shout out to you. He says, how can money be the downfall? Nothing wrong with money. Man, you're trying to twist up the whole thing about it, man. Stop trying to sound intelligent, man. It's just a topic. You know what I mean? That's like me saying, is sex the biggest downfall in churches? Meaning the greed, the love of it. You understand? That's what I'm talking about. It's false teaching the biggest downfall in a lot of churches. Do you get it now? Do you get it? All right? Okay. Miss Joyce says, a lady on the news needed help with her bills, but she missed a few Sundays of not paying tithes, so the pastor, excuse me, wouldn't help her. She put the church on blast. What's up to Collins? Shout out to you. 622 said, wow, that happened to me. I stopped paying tithes. I gave when I feel led, but soon as they, what? friend house burnt up, they want everyone, I guess you meant they want everyone to give. What's up, the lab station? Patrick T says, in the Church of Christ, the books of the church are given out every quarter to the members. And it's one-page balance sheet, and the minister's contract is available to anyone that wants it. Okay. G. Swole says, I'm surprised I don't feel some type of way for all the money I gave to a false church. Maybe it's due to doing it out of good intentions. Yeah, I mean, same here. Same here for sure. You know? Patrick T says, if everyone knows where every dimension of the money's going, there is no problem. For sure. For sure. All right. I'm going to skip that one. What's up, the biblical instruction? Shout out to you. Okay, that Christopher span. Brother in Holiness says, sweet candy, man. These dudes too sweet around here. Wow. Yeah, man. And they spoke about, well, I think I brought up Skittles in the churches and whatnot. Or somebody brought that up. That's a huge downfall in a lot of churches. A lot. You know what I mean? All right, what's up to Michael Hollingsworth? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. All right. Let me see. Patrick T says money is the downfall of a lot of churches because the members still feels the money belongs to them after they gave it to God. An offering is a sacrifice. It no longer belongs to you, but God, you wrote. Okay. Okay. All right. What's going to hell there? Patrick T says, judging who's going to hell, David B, is not of holiness. Only Jesus does that, you wrote. Wow. B always says, Pat, what you talking about? You get paid to preach. Stop being a hypocrite, you hypocrite. Mr. Patrick T, you get paid? I can't really remember if you said that. Help me to understand. Help me to refresh my memory. You know? All right. Mr. Worshipper said, you can always tell when churches are misusing money, though. Yes and no. You know, if you're really involved, yes, probably. But if you're from afar, you know what I mean? And somebody's like really slick, then, 9 times out of 10, you really don't know. You know what I mean? You said the preacher's living good and the members struggling. Well, I can agree to that. I can agree. I can agree to that. Williams 91 says money can definitely be a downfall, especially if you get your users to lock the doors and tell them. Ah man, I lost the there you go right there. Lock the doors and tell them no one is leaving. Who did that? Marvin. I forgot his name. Marvin something, right? G. Swole says, but why do false pastors feel so comfortable to come to church in a fancy car wearing fancy clothes and jewelry? Well, that's how a lot of them are. You know what I mean? That's how a lot of them are, man. You understand it? Just like the rappers out here. You know, ain't no different. It's just parallel to the rappers out here want to be flashy and show their gator shoes and Armani suits. It's no different. You know what I mean? From Moneybag Yo showing his iced out grill and chain, expensive sneakers. You know what I mean? It's parallel to this false prophet over here. You know what I mean? Who's spending the people money to look good too. Same thing to me. I think it's the same thing. You know, want to be flashy. You understand? They like that stuff. They like the look. You know, a lot of them don't care if somebody's struggling. You know, folks could be struggling in rent money. You know, it happens. All right. Let me see where we at. All right. Mr. McCall said you have to put faithful men over this business, and it's not good to put family members over it. It depends. You might have some faithful family members. Some, not all. Some, I'd say that. Some, maybe. All right. He said a lot of the times the congregation is bewitched. Well, I mean, that's true. You know, Patrick T says that's a false narrative. A minister is not paid to preach. He says he's paid to minister. You say he's paid to minister the congregation. And you mentioned that you says I get paid to preach because I'm an evangelist and I go all over the country preaching meetings and lectures. Okay. So you admitting that you get paid. Okay. You know what I mean? All right. Mr. Worshipper says, because some will see the pastor using the money for them and his family and the members still go. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? You know? Wow. What would you do if you see your preacher man, right? Just like that. I mean, right up front. You know. Some people do know. Like clearly. For years and years. Some people do know. You know what I mean? And like you said, the members still go. But some people may just start to find out. You know what I mean? You can't put them in the pedestal of those who already knew for years. But somebody who just now finding out, oh man, I'm trying to get some information, man. You can't put them in the same pedestal of somebody who knew for years. You know what I mean? All right. Where we at? What's up to Michael Hollingsworth? You said these false preachers do not like to work. They want to con people. What's up to Shirley? Shout out to you. Jackie McCall says, Patrick T, I can't agree with you on getting paid. It doesn't matter if you went to China. Have your own money to go around the country. Oh, man. Have your own money. Jackie McCall. All right. Patrick T says, every preacher is a YouTube preacher. He says, almost every congregation is on YouTube. What's up to Lamar? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. Appreciate that. Let me see where we at. We scrolling through. See if I miss anybody. We got a couple of more minutes before we knock off. And then we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing. You know? Brother in Holiness says, these false prophets love getting paid, money bad prophets. Let me see where we at. I'm just reading the comments. What's up, the prodigal son? Shout out to you. What's up to Sarah D? Shout out to you. Hope all is well. McCall says, I don't try to get into people's business and I don't want to know, but it does not look good when you have former members spreading rumors. It's a bad look on the body. As he says, I'm looking forward to watching the broadcast of Truth of God Cayman Islands Holy Convention. All right, Patrick T says, most ministers in the Church of Christ are not allowed to work another job. You said the congregations requires him to only work in ministry. Your own preacher said if a preacher can't work, he has to be taken care of. I think we spoke about that before, man. I don't feel like going into that, man. You know what I mean? Because we talk about these things before. You know, it's just gonna be like a merry-go-round going back and forth. And I gotta pull up those same videos. You know what I mean? To correct you in reference to what he said. All right. We got about 3 minutes left. 3 minutes. So if you got any last closing remarks, feel free to leave it in the chat room as we close this thing out in a bit. And Lord willing, we'll be on tomorrow with some more good conversation. For sure. You know, this was a pretty interesting topic. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to turn it another way, but we kept it right on, you know what I mean, the topic at hand, which is an in general topic, not specifying anything or anyone as they wanted to, those trolls and haters and whatnot. All right? It's not for proof, and they muted me. He said tomorrow, hopefully for 5 hours. No. I might take me a little break for the weekend, man. You understand? I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, man. Spanish says, imagine you think you're risking your life for preaching false doctrine, but you really, the risk itself make sense. You said sway at Christopher Span. What's up, the Mercy Card? Shout out to you. David B said his false church is forbidding the preachers from working despite what the scriptures say in reference to Patrick T. Wow. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes, then we knocking off. Her wife says, did Jonah get himself together from all that baptizing? I don't know. I don't talk to that fella no more. You know what I mean? All communications cut off. You know, so I don't talk to him. You understand? He's probably watching in the background, smirking, laughing. You know what I mean? But we'll do pray for you at Christmas Span, but I don't talk to Jonah. You know, I don't talk to him. You understand? So I hope everybody have a good night. It was a great conversation. Even to the trolls out there, I know you're probably watching, screen recording. I know the trolls is probably screen recording right now. I know you are. You understand? So God bless to everybody out there. You understand? And you know they are. Especially to those ones in Canada. I know they probably screen recording. They waiting to make that video. They waiting. You understand? All right. He says been ducking and dodging false prophets all day. Patrick T said, y'all don't think ministry is working? Sometimes I would have to minister at church. Maybe the preacher was sick or something on vacation. Ministry of You says of a one congregation is at least 50 hours of work. All right, cool. Gotta go. God bless to you all. I'm Tony Harvin of the Tony Harvin Network. You know. Lamar. God bless to everybody out there. In general, Tony Harvin. I'm out. Peace.